All right, let's transition here to quarterback talk. It's inevitable every episode of this podcast and every Bears podcast, right? You got to do it. Justin Fields, we kind of talked about his performance earlier. Not great necessarily, but he goes out and gets the win. He does the game-winning drive for the third time in his career. Obviously, that's something that he has struggled with. He did it. He went on the field, 36-yard strike to DJ Moore to get them into the field goal position. 10 seconds to go. Carlos Santos knocks in the field goal. To start this conversation, because again, I work in Chicago sports radio, hear it all day, every day. The topic has really been draft quarterback, keep Fields. Like that. That's been the only thing people care about this week. It's been the only thing people care about for a while, but especially the past couple of weeks when we know that this is the evaluation period and whatnot. Here's what's indicative to me, likely, of how the organization feels about Justin Fields, okay? Because people don't know how Ryan Poles feels about it. They don't know if they're all in. We see the video of him hugging Justin Fields, Ryan Poles, that is, and we see, Eberflus hugging him. We're like, oh, maybe they love him, but then they don't call plays for him down the field. Maybe they hate him because they don't trust him. Like nobody knows how the organization feels about him and how the football people in the organization feel about him. There's a lot of people, Mike, Joe Schmo, armchair GMs, guys on Twitter, like randos who want to voice their opinion, and we could fall in that category. We could fall in that category. Don't get me wrong, but it's all these people who are like, you get this Justin Fields guy. He doesn't know how to win. Start Tyson Bagent. This guy, he can't do it in Chicago. He falls under the pressure and all this and all that, and they're out on him already, and they're done. They don't watch the games. They don't evaluate it. But we have guys at 6'7" scorer like Chase Daniel, former quarterback for the Bears and 14-year NFL veteran, Kurt Warner, Super Bowl MVP, NFL MVP, two-time NFL MVP, right? You got guys nationally, Dan Orlovsky, Keyshawn Johnson, Louis Riddick, Ryan Clark, and all of these guys, the smartest football people in the world, the guys who have played in the league, every single one of them looks, aside from a couple guys who are out there to make a narrative, look at the situation and say, you would be stupid to move on from Justin Fields. They watch the tape. They go through every single play because it's their jobs. And the educated guys around the league nationally look at this and say, it's way too logical to keep Justin Fields. Everything that we've seen, at least on Monday night and, the years prior, it's not his fault. Sure, he's made mistakes, but he is a part of an offense right now that still isn't recognizing his strengths, that still isn't tailoring to his strengths. Maybe one deep ball on Monday night. And we still will all have to remember that coming out of college, Justin Fields was rated as one of the best throwers of the deep ball in college football history. And they're still not going to it. So it's not a coincidence, Mike, that all the most educated people, Chase Daniel, Kurt Warner, Dan Orlovsky, all these people can recognize that, hey, Justin Fields can be a top 10 quarterback in the league. It's obvious. Everybody knows it. And if you listen to the most educated people, then you have to imagine that the people in the Bears organization are educated enough to also understand that. And that's the theme. And everyone wants to talk about like the risk associated, and this is what I talk about, Mike. Yeah. The risk associated with drafting Caleb Williams or Drake May at this moment in time on November 30th is far greater than the risk associated with Justin Fields. We know what he's capable of. And we also know the ceiling. This isn't a situation where Justin Fields, we know, can be competent enough, right? And maybe, he could be competent enough. No, Justin Fields can be great. We know that. You don't know if Caleb Williams or Drake May can be great. Sure, their ceiling could be whatever you think it is, but the risk is still there. And people are like, oh, you know what? You just got to take the chance because you just got to take the chance. And they say, hey, look, it's a bad look if you draft Caleb Williams or Drake May and one of those players turns in to be a good player in the league. But what people fail to acknowledge is it's a even worse look for the organization if Justin Fields the following year were to go to the Atlanta Falcons and win the Super Bowl or be an All-Pro or a Pro Bowler. It's a worse look for you. So those are the things that Ryan Poles has to consider. And I just think, Mike, the educated people around, if all of the educated people around the league are saying this about Justin Fields, Brian Baldinger doing his tape breakdowns on Twitter. Oh yeah, Justin Fields, look at his throw. Look at this. This is the guy. All of these people are saying that he can be something in this league. I just don't know that the front office will have the balls, and they shouldn't have the balls to move on from that at the end of the year. So that's the start of this conversation. Mike, I'll hand it over to you. I rest in peace.
I mean,
speak my peace. I don't rest in peace. I speak.
What else I got? What else I got? You know what I mean? Like, you hit all the points, but to kind of just continue that conversation to, just make the people happy. We have to have these conversations because unfortunately we're in Chicago to where quarterbacks will get the blame, and the second they ride out of here, the Doug Flutys of the world will have success elsewhere, and that's just real. And I think at the end of the day, the conversation we need to start having is, what is the problem? You're talking about the hug. And by the way, that was a deep hug. I mean, that was a tight hug. Ryan Poles looked happier than I've ever seen Ryan Poles. Now, when he hugged Flus, I didn't see that same excitement. But when he hugged Justin, I saw it's like he was hugging a son. I see he was hugging a son. But with that being said, though, what I did see is Ryan Poles in the press box. I saw him in the press box in his suite, whatever he was sitting in, and he said it. I watched this man utter the words on social media. Same play over and over and over. And he literally went like this as he's watching on his laptop. He understands Luke Getsy's not the guy. He understands Matt Eberflus is not the guy. And you and I have had this conversation before. Whether you agree or disagree listening to this podcast, you don't get hired and 2 days later hire a head coach. That doesn't happen, especially as a first-time general manager. So, I think you go into this job saying, hey, man, congratulations. You're the general manager of the Chicago Bears. We just need you to pick from one of these 3 guys, and then you can do whatever you want to do. All right, cool. Picked one. Personally, myself, I was a Jim Caldwell guy, but that's fine. Anyways, with that being said, though, I think with Fields, you have a better opportunity to tell a story. James Morgan told me that the other day, man. He said, let's finish the story. And I want to finish the story with Justin because I've watched this story blossom since he was 15 years old. I watched him in high school. I watched him in college, and I've seen what he's been able to do. And for it to just transpire the way it has, it is just unfathomable to me that we're at this point in time and we're having this legitimate conversation. Yep. And I think that's the main problem. And that's really where I'm at with it is I understand what Fields isn't good at. I know what he's not good at. It's the same thing every week. Everything else, I feel like he has slowly fixed. The only thing is, man, sometimes you just got to know when to say when. Sometimes you got to know when to just throw that ball away. Stop running, stop going, stop holding on, stop fighting for the extra yard, lay down. Here and there, fine. But back-to-back fumbles that was due not to the defense making good plays, but due to Justin Fields just trying to extend the ball. And I love that from you, but sometimes you just got to know when to say when. That's my only problem. The accuracy has shown up. The legs, come on.
We know that.
We already know. And everything else has slowly progressed with DJ Moore to a point to where I'm like, all right, I'm confident with this. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very confident in Justin Fields. And I also want to bring up a point. It is a statistic, I believe, 50 to 60% of number 1 overall pick quarterbacks taken are a failure.
Yep.
Personally, myself, I think Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback in this league, in college football. Right?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the best out of this entire class. And unfortunately, you can't draft him number 1 overall because that would make you look foolish. But if you take Caleb after what we've seen so far, and you take another UNC Tar Heel at quarterback, talk about the last one that did well, Kevin. Let's get another Mitch Trubisky. Because that'll be fun. Another Sam Howell, because that's better than Justin Fields. I just think right now the only logical conversation, like I've talked to you about before, that you can make from me is, well, you want a quarterback that's going to be on a rookie deal for the next 4 to 5 years. But at the same time, to that point, it's not like Justin Fields drafted 11th overall. It's a number 1 overall pick who's going to be getting paid a decent amount of money. So I don't want to hear that conversation or that narrative either, because Caleb Williams or whoever would be drafted at number 1 would still be making some good money.
Exactly.
So I'm with Fields, bro.